Hi, it's the journey, and my voice, I will say closer, sounds a bit raspy because I sound not ill, but ill. But our guest today is a skilled multi-instrumentalist and co-founder of MuseFlow, which is MuseFlow.ai. It's a groundbreaking music edtech platform often called the Duolingo of music education. Frustrated by the limitations of traditional music education, August began exploring self-directed practice, which reignited his passion for music and led him to focus on sight reading as an engaging learning tool. MuseFlow teaches bite-sized skills through sight reading, allowing students to master new concepts efficiently and enjoyably by focusing on reading and playing music at first sight, then applying these skills to songs that get unlocked. I say no more, because it is Journey. I've got a few questions to ask him, but I welcome Patrick to the journey.
Thank you so much for having me, David. How you doing? Sorry you're a little ill.
It's okay. It happens,
Yeah.
and I still smile and got to be. So, journey starts, and I want to start from your earliest memory that you can recollect. What was the earliest memory that started your journey?
Earliest memory that I can remember was watching my babysitter leave for the last time. Uh I remember that being a very profound moment. I was crying. I was standing at the window watching her leave, and then after that a week later my grandmother showed up. I had never really knew her. She lived on the West Coast. I was in Chicago, and she just started becoming our babysitter herself.
Mm.
She moved to help us. I was a really terrible reader when I was younger. I was in, the special ed class for reading. Everything else was great. It was just reading for some reason was terrible. And so she was a teacher, and she was like, I really want to help Patrick. I want to be there as his tutor and his babysitter. My parents both worked, and they were out, and so I was a kind of a latchkey kid, and she picked me up from school and brought me back and really got me up to speed on reading. And so it was that babysitter moment that I missed her. Oh, she was amazing. She was a great babysitter, but it paled in comparison to my grandmother, my
Obviously,
yaya.
because obviously when you're grown up, you do look up to your family members, but when you do have someone close to you, you grow that attachment per se.
Yeah,
So your babysitter, I'm not saying you was physically attached, but it was just that your familiar face that you saw constantly.
absolutely. She was amazing. Almina was her name. She was Filipino. She was fantastic. And then my yaya came on in. We're Greek, and so we call them, our grandparents Yaya and Papu. And so my yaya moved from the West Coast to Chicago to help me out. And by golly, did she do it! I am a very fast reader nowadays.
And it does say in the notes you sent me, you read very fast, and I generally read fast as well. And people are like, "How can you read it so quickly?" And it's like, it does take practice.
It takes a lot of practice. Yes,
Like I can read your notes, I can not look at them again unless I have to. But the point is, I read through it, and then I don't read a script because it's about natural and it's sort of stored up in the mind. And people are like, "How?"
hmm. That's a special skill. That's a very special skill. I'm actually my comprehension, on the other hand, when it comes to reading, it's not the best. That's not how I digest information the best. I digest information the best through doing, the kinesthetic ability of doing something, and also through listening. Those are the two for me, not reading per se.
Yeah. So I will read some of the questions that's been suggested, but obviously this was the one I was referring to. Can you share about the pivotal moment that inspired you to start experimenting with sheet music and how that led to the creation of MuseFlow?
I took 8 years of traditional lessons. I hated every single minute of it. I asked my parents if I could get into lessons when I was younger. I was about 8 years old. And because we had this beautiful, beaten up, upright piano in our living room. It was from this bar in Chicago that our family friend used to play at, and he inherited it, and he's like, I don't need it. Do you want it? And so we were like, yes, absolutely. But nobody in my household played it. And so I asked my family if I could get lessons, and my parents were like, it's a lifelong hobby, Patrick. And I said, yes, I know. I want to start. Like I was 8 years old and I knew what a lifelong hobby was, right? And so I started lessons, did not like it, didn't work for me. The traditional ways of teaching is your teacher gives you a new note or a new rhythm and then gives you a song or two to go home and practice, repeat it over and over and over to perfection. And then the next week, you sit down with your teacher and play it for them. And if you can play it perfectly, they move you on to the next one. If you can't, you have to go back and repeat that song again to perfection.
I remember
Many
that
times.
with now I played a recorder and they gave you a simple like top button, key, and then they go to the bottom. You had to do it in such a sequence.
Mm-hmm. Kind of the same way. Absolutely. It became very rote. Like I was only learning these skills in the context of this specific song. It wasn't applicable to other songs. And so I just kept doing that for 8 years and it didn't really work for my brain. And I didn't feel like these skills were compounding on one another. Like I was truly learning how to play piano. No, I was just learning how to play these songs. There's a difference. And so after 8 years of my parents having to ground me to practice, my teacher retired. No fault of my own. He just retired. I was a terrible student, but he just retired. And then this is the moment. I stopped playing piano for about 3 weeks or 3 months or something. I'm not exactly sure, but my parents had a bunch of musical theater scores in in the living room with the piano. And so then I went back there and I was like, I'm determined to learn something I'm interested in. And so what I did was I just opened up a song and I started playing through it. And I found this little bite sized piece, this chunk that I really enjoyed. And then I just stopped playing the song and I closed the sheet music and I started improvising around that piece. This was very organic the way this happened. I put that little chunk into all these different musical contexts. I put it in the right hand. I put it in the left hand. I inverted it. I played it backwards to forwards. I changed up the rhythm. I changed up the pattern. I played it faster, slower. I really fleshed it out, right? And then I was like, that was really, really fun. And so I kept going through that song and I found another chunk that I really enjoyed. And I did the same thing. Did that for years, years, over and over and over. That was kind of the pivotal moment where I realized, like, oh, I could actually learn how to play piano in a different way. That was really fun and engaging.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I can feel that because, it's not about traditional, even though traditional's good, and I applaud traditional people who play any kind of instrument. You want to make it your own style.
Mm-hmm. And I
Now,
realized,
now you
go on.
heard of the late composer Vangelis.
Sounds familiar, but I don't think I know him.
Well, he's a composer who self-taught himself on the synthesizer. He's from Greece as well.
Okay, cool.
But he never had any music. He just watched pictures of whatever he was composing to, and he just made his own music.
Love that.
So he self-taught himself. He did things several times, and that famous video I always watch is Chariots of Fire. Now, if you watch the official video of that and you actually see him playing that, all you see him is sitting at it looks like, I think it's piano on that case, but you look at him and he's just seen a projector and he's seen just pictures, no sound, nothing, but he's composing music to it just from what he sat.
That's so cool. That's so beautiful because
And that's
it's,
and that's the inspiration that I go by. I like music by him because it's just naturally him being him.
yeah, I think that's amazing. Some of my favorite pieces have been hour-long improvisational compositions where this, pianist just sits down on the corner in on some Georgian street, in Atlanta. They have these pianos that you can just play.
Hmm.
And you sit down, he sits down, he sets up his microphones so that it's capturing the city streets and also him playing. And he just plays. He just plays whatever he wants and he's inspired by the passing people, inspired by the sounds of nature in the city. And that's it. It's like an hour-long improvisation. And I'm obsessed with it because it's so natural, yet so inspired at the same time. Beautiful.
Yeah, and that's how like I said, that's how I love music
Me too. It's
and
my life.
breathtaking. So obviously we go on to MuseFlows. Can you go into how the approach to sight reading and skill building differs from traditional music education methods? Because obviously you say you're doing your own style where you're improvising, but can you explain more?
Yeah, so the way that I taught myself how to play piano, I see, because I find those 8 years of lessons to be fairly rudimentary, and I didn't really learn much during that time. Yes, I learned how to read music, but I didn't really know how to play, you know? And so the engine of my personal curriculum was improvisation.
Hmm.
Yes. Cut to college, I I was the only acting major at my alma mater that knew how to play piano. And so all these musical theater people were coming up to me being like, Patrick, can you play this song? I want to practice it for an audition, or I just really want to sing this song. Can we do that? And so I was like, cool, throw it in front of me. Let's see what I can do. And I start playing that song, whatever the song was. I could play it. I could play it at first sight. Blew my mind at that moment because I'd never done that since, where I could play it at tempo and I could play it at first sight and I could let them sing. And I was doing this as this communal activity. It was amazing. I was like, that's really cool. So it was the first time that I realized I could sight read. Cut to so I came out here to LA as an actor. It didn't really work for me. There were too many ups and downs, too much space in between each job. I had to have a day job, and I was waiting tables at night and auditioning during the day. It didn't work for me because I was not being creatively fulfilled enough, and I wasn't being financially fulfilled enough. And so I got really depressed, and my wife said, Pat, why don't you go play piano? You've been doing it your entire life. Just go try. And I said, well, it's too close to my heart. I don't want to. And she was like, Pat, you're an actor. You put your heart on your sleeve like all the time. You live your life with your emotions right there at the forefront. Do it. Just try it. And so I said, fine, Wesley, stop yelling at me. And so lo and behold, I did. I tried. 3 months later, I was making my living off of it. One
Right.
day I was bored and I was thinking to myself, well, if I can be a professional pianist and be semi self-taught in this sort of like iterative improvisational way that it gets me to a place where I can sight read music, maybe I can make that into something where other people can use it. And so that is where MuseFlow was born.
And it's just,
Instead of using improvisations as the engine of the curriculum, we use sight reading.
yeah.
The act of reading music at first sight. We give you a new note or a new rhythm, and then we give you music that you've never seen before that never repeats, and you have to play it. And you have to play it at the tempo, at the goal tempo, at 95% accuracy. You have to play that. And you have to get 4 phrases of music in a row. And you have to play that at 95% accuracy to successfully pass that level. And then in our opinion, you have successfully mastered that new skill because you've played it in a multitude of contexts at your skill level. And you have successfully played that new skill in so many different contexts that at the end of that level, we give you songs that unlock at the end of that level. And then you can go apply the skill to those songs. Now we're just kind of adding another step before songs that is very engaging, very effective, and very fun. We never had the ability to do that before the advent of technology.
Mm.
So that's why, music education has been steeped in tradition for thousands of years. It's because we've been bound by the page. We've never been able to generate music infinitely that never repeats at a very specific skill level. Wherever you start, it'll just continue to repeat and play that, not repeat. It'll continue to generate that music at that level. So that's MuseFlow in a nutshell. And it all started when I kind of realized that I could sight read too, with the way that I taught myself how to play.
The the name MuseFlow, it's just, you can tell it's music and it's flowing.
Mm-hmm. You got to
And
flow with it, man.
yeah,
You got to keep going. You got to play that music. Keep yourself in that pocket, that groove, where you're present, you're challenged, you're engaged with the activity at hand. Yeah.
That's good. So, can you elaborate on how MuseFlow achieves the flow state and why it's crucial for mastering an instrument?
It's a different way of thinking about mastering an instrument. We always thought that learning songs was the way to master an instrument, but that's not really fun. Learning a song isn't fun. To just repeat these same phrases over and over and over and getting frustrated with that, it's not enjoyable. So what we want to do is we want to get you to a place where you can play those songs faster. We want to increase your ability to sight read that music so that the gap between what you want to play and what you can sight read is smaller so that you can learn that song more effectively and more fun. So you can start making the fun decisions about music, which is, why do you want to play it? Asking yourself those questions. How do I want to play this? And what about the song makes me want to play it that way? Those musicianship questions. How do I tell the story of the song? So what MuseFlow does is it gives you that infinite amount of music that never repeats. The key here is that it's constantly pushing you just outside of your comfort zone to where the challenge meets your skill level. That's kind of where flow state is. We call it the Goldilocks zone of challenge. Everybody needs a challenge. It's just a part of our human DNA. But that challenge is up to you. How hard do you want that to be? How much do you want to be challenged? I watched somebody play MuseFlow and they were getting 40% correct and they were having a blast. That doesn't work for me. I need to be playing at a 90% accuracy for me to feel like I'm comfortable and having a great time. That is a very personal thing. Wherever your flow state is, that's up to you. So we soft unlock everything. You get to choose wherever you want to start. Okay. We'll automate that process later. But right now, you get to choose. That's a very key focus on the key thing about flow state. Have you ever felt that moment or that period of time where you actually just forget about time and you've just done an activity for hours on end and you're like, oh my God, it's 11 p.m.
Yeah.
I'm curious what gets you there. What are the things that get you into flow state?
It's just constant because I forget about what's around me. And when you do, when you are in the zone, you're not got any, it's like you've heard of a vision where you got one track vision. That's all I can see. I can't see beyond. So you see, I wear glasses, you wear glasses. Say if I've wearing those glasses like that, I can't see what's beyond my hands.
Yeah,
So it's a one track. And then, like you said, it's about how I carry on with it, and I then forget about time. If I got something going on, I forget about time. Like when I'm passionate about talking about things to people, yes, I forget about time.
amazing. I love that. So conversation
Yeah.
gets you into that flow state.
Mm.
That's really cool. Conversation also gets me into flow state too. Number one is that challenge where the challenge meets your skill level. That's very key. Number two, the thing that gets you, that helps you get into flow state that we utilize is immediate real-time feedback. You need to be told what you did wrong, and you need to be able to apply that immediately and fix it in the moment. We use a color coding system to color the notes based on how you played it. Red, you've done it completely wrong. The pitch or the duration, the pitch and the duration, okay, together makes that note wrong. You played it completely wrong. Yellow is you got the pitch right, but you got the duration wrong. Say you held it a little too short for that certain note. You know, it's supposed to be 4 beats long. You actually hold it for 3. So that's a yellow note. Green means that you played it correctly. You played the note 100% correct. The pitch is correct. The duration is correct. That is 100% accurate. And there you go. You got a green. So throughout MuseFlow, everywhere you play, whether that's a song or in the sight reading trainer, those notes are colored appropriately. And you can go back and in the song, you can go back and you can play those notes correctly immediately after you've tried it. We make sure that the ability to repeat a song is very, very quick. It's one button. That's it. and then it goes right back to the beginning and you get to start right over again. The cursor starts going and the metronome immediately starts playing. It's a one button reset. In the sight reading trainer, you just keep flowing. You just keep going and you let those errors roll off your shoulder. Don't even care about perfection. We're not here to perfect anything. You're just here to care about the incremental progress towards that perfection. That's what we want to make fun, that progress. And so you just keep going. You recognize what you're getting wrong. You breathe through it. You keep playing the music that is generated, and there you go.
Yeah,
That's flow state.
I love that. And it's just maintaining that. And like, if you do get all green, it's okay to go back and try it again because it's about consistent, how you can keep it. Because if you do it once, you go back to it, there might be a chance you make a mistake and then which is not intentional, but the
No,
fact is you're constantly learning.
the only way that we're going to learn is by failing. That's the only way we learn as humans.
Mm.
You have to be bad at it first to then be good at it. If you're good at it, there's no challenge. We like a challenge. I love a challenge. I want to be challenged. Otherwise, life is so boring without it. I don't want to be bored. I want to be engaged. And
I
so
understand.
what we have to do is just let those errors just roll off our shoulder. That is one of the hardest parts. Now, if you're getting too many errors and if you feel like you're being stretched too thin, make it easier on yourself. Lower the tempo or go back a couple of levels and keep playing those levels until you feel like you're at a proficient level or until the system passes you. And then you can move up. Now, if you don't feel like you've successfully learned that skill, once you've passed that level, go back on a certain level, lower the tempo by 1 beat per minute so that you cannot pass that level, and then just continue to play that music infinitely. Just keep going. Just enjoy the flow, you know?
Mm.
That's it's very adaptable in that regard. Yeah.
Yeah. So we are slowly, and I'm looking at the time. As someone deeply involved in edtech, where do you see the future of music education? Where do you think it's heading?
I think it's heading into a place of personalization where we can we as the app and the app creators can make something that is very deeply personal to how you're learning and your progress. The goal with MuseFlow in the end is to be able to recognize the patterns in your playing and give you music that challenges the patterns that we are recognizing you're kind of struggling with in a way that you're not even recognizing. We're just doing it on the back end and we're helping you progress incrementally and in an engaged flow state sort of way. Here's what we're doing. We're creating a machine learning algorithm right now that can recognize the patterns within your playing. Say, for example, you're messing up this one interval. You're missing these two notes, right? This pattern of two notes between each other that for some reason you're messing up that with a certain rhythm. You're just constantly messing that up. We'll recognize that and we'll give you more music with that pattern in it so that you can practice that one specific pattern over and over and over, more so than the other patterns within that music. We can dynamically shift that music based on how you're playing. That personalization, that level of personalization, I think is going to be key to engaging the populace in a process that is very fun and very engaging for the individual. That is where we want to be in the future. And that is where I think it's going. I'm excited for that. And it is so fun to create this with a group of people that I really love.
That's good. So obviously people be wanting to know more about MuseFlow, and we was talking earlier about how to get hold of, MuseFlow. So how can people get involved with MuseFlow?
Just go to our website, museflow.ai, sign up for the free trial, try it out. Right now, you do need a laptop and that uses Chrome or Edge, the browsers that are compatible with MuseFlow. And you need what is called a MIDI compatible keyboard. Whatever that is, so many different keyboards are MIDI compatible these days. Whether that's 25 notes or 88 notes, you can find one that is MIDI compatible.
Yeah. And you
Jack
talking to,
that in, and then just start trying your free trial. If you enjoy it, great. If you don't, shoot me an email. I'd
Yeah.
love to hear your thoughts. We have a discount code for your audience. It's Journey50.
And I'll make sure that's in the description.
It gives 50% off for life for anybody that wants to try it out. I'd love to hear what you think. No pressure on emailing me or letting me know anything, but we have that feedback flywheel going. We've got that user feedback into feature product creation. For example, accessibility was one big one that we had recently. Somebody who was colorblind tried out MuseFlow, and they were like, oh, the way that you color the notes are not working for me. I'm red green colorblind, and we need a different gradation for those note colors. And we were like, oh my God, thank you so much. We made that in a week. So those kind of things. We would love to hear what you want, but no pressure. Just want to try it out using the coupon code. It gives you 50% off for life. And we're excited to have you.
Okay. And last of all, the ultimate question to end on all good things. What would you say to inspire people on their journey to help them develop their skill set?
I think we need to embrace failure. We need to accept that the only way you're going to learn is through messing up and being okay with that. I was a user with MuseFlow that I watched play a song. He passed level 16, and then he immediately started playing one of the songs that got unlocked after it. And I saw him play, and the first time he played through it, he got 30% accurate. He loved it, and he finished the song. He had such a great time doing it. The errors were just rolling off his back. And halfway through it, I was like, I wanted to say to him, okay, you don't have to keep going. But the dude loved it. He was having such a great time. He repeated it after that, and he got 80% accuracy at that time. And then he repeated it again, 95%, and then he repeated it again, and he got 100% at the end of that. You're like, that's incredible. So to me, he would have had to repeat that song over and over and over in the traditional methods of teaching for him to get it 100% correct. But with MuseFlow, he only had to do it 4 times because we got his ability to sight read and his ability to not care about errors. We got him to a place where he just accepted the fact that he was going to fail, and he did it once, got 30% accuracy. And then the next time, immediately after that, he got 80% accuracy. And you're like, that's so cool to be able to see. I think that is embracing failure and caring about progress, not perfection. Those are the 2 things that I think would revolutionize your framing of learning and your mindset when it comes to it.
That's amazing to hear. And on that, I'd like to say, Patrick, thank you for sharing your journey with us today. The code again is Journey50, and that will be in the description alongside your website. Post edit.
Thanks, man. You're the best. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thanks to our guest there for a wonderful journey. And now a couple of messages to share with you.
Hello, I am Amy Harrison. I'm the author of the book Feline Warrior Part 1 and Part 2, a fictional story that is written in a poetic format that is based on real-life events that could happen to anyone and intended only for relatable purposes. This story claws into Catgirl's past abuse. Catgirl is human and part feline, but truly a warrior who can handle anything because she is strong and fierce. She has been taken advantage of for far too long. Join her on her journey as she reaches freedom. Here are some poems from Feline Warrior. Tears flow. I no longer know what to do. I am no longer who I once was, and it is because I made a choice to use my voice, and that is okay, because what I had to say was true, unlike me and you. Now I see. I am free. I am me. I am Catgirl. Ultimately, be you. Always stay true. Do what you want to do, because every day is made new. If you want to read more, visit the link in the description. Meow at you later.
Music by Erica R. from Pixar Bay.
By Tim Parsons. The narrator is Kate Barton. Director and producer, Darren Street. Tim Parsons would like to thank family and friends for their support with the Paramedic Chris venture. The series is dedicated to the memory of his father, Reverend David Parsons. Copyright Tim Parsons 2020, all rights reserved. Unauthorized use, copying or sharing of this audiobook is strictly prohibited. This has been a Voice Reel studio production for Tim Parsons.
Oh, good afternoon, everyone. I've just been listening to the Paramedic Chris children's books on audio again, and I just love it because they've given a tribute in one of them to my dad as well, who passed away a few years ago. I love audio books, and it's great to walk around, and it's great to sit at the computer, if you're out jogging or wherever, to listen to them as well. All 4 of the Paramedic Chris children's books are available on audiobook from Amazon. Go and take a listen to them. You won't be disappointed. You'll hear what happens when a community pulls together and supports one another. The best thing is to pop over to my website, paramedicchriskidsbooks.org, and you'll see the links on the shop page. Keep safe, everyone, and thank you for being you.
The Journey podcast explores stories of personal growth, challenges, and life-changing moments. Each episode dives into unique experiences, offering insights and inspiration for listeners navigating their own paths. I believe everyone has a story worth sharing. If you'd like to share your journey with David and others, email your story to wisewords1983@reborn.com, and it may be featured in a future episode.